What's up, Ragin Nation? How's it going? This is Alex Yu, and I got a review for you. The film that I'm about to review is called Transformers: The Last Knight. You might have heard of it. It is the fifth installment in this multi-billion-dollar Transformers live-action movie franchise from director Michael Bay, executive produced by Steven Spielberg, from Paramount Pictures and Hasbro. It is also part of a franchise that has been going on for 10 years now. And this film, Transformers: The Last Knight, kicks off the Transformers Cinematic Universe, which expands the lore, which essentially means that there are more films to come after this one. Now, before I do this review, I want to let you guys know that it is completely spoiler-free, no spoilers, no specific details. If you want to talk about spoilers, and if you want to hear spoilers, you're going to have to wait till the next video, which is my spoiler-filled talkback review. We're going to just get right down and dirty talking about all the little details, but that's the next video. This review, no spoilers, and also, before I begin the review, I just want to let you guys know that I went into this film with not necessarily high expectations, but certain expectations. I went into this film as somebody who is extremely invested into this franchise. I'm somebody who is a big fan of this franchise, and I could not wait to watch this film. After all, I've been talking about this film for nearly 3 years. The Road to TF5, a web series about speculating and anticipating Transformers: The Last Knight, has been going on since August of 2014, since they announced it. And now it is June 19th, or rather 20th, 2017. I've just seen the movie, and I'm going to be completely honest with you guys about how I feel. After all, in The Road to TF5, I have been completely honest about my thoughts and feelings, and now here's the movie. Let's get on with the review. So, we're going to start off with the story. The story was conceptualized by Akiva Goldsman, but it was written by Ken Nolan, who wrote Black Hawk Down, which I love, by the way. Black Hawk Down is one of my top 10 films of all time. And also the writing duo, Art Markham and Matt Holloway, who wrote Iron Man, which is one of the greatest superhero origins movies of all time. So that's pretty solid, right? And it is. I think they got a solid story. I really like the story. I like that the story really expands the Transformers lore. It goes into the history, and there's actually a lot of twists and turns, which I really like about it. So I do like the story. I have no issues with the story whatsoever. It's something that I really enjoyed about this film, and it is something that kept me engaged. So that is awesome. Let's get into the characters. We have returning characters. It's Mark Wahlberg, played by Kate Yeager, played by Mark Wahlberg. And then a bunch of new characters. We got Sir Edmund Burton, who's played by Anthony Hopkins. Izzy, who played by Isabella Moner. And also, who else do we got? We got Laura Haddock, who plays Vivian Wembley. And also returning is Lennox, who is played by Josh Duhamel. Now, out of all those characters I've mentioned, it is only Sir Edmund Burton, played by Anthony Hopkins, and Vivian Wembley's character, who is pretty much the most interesting of them all. Vivian Wembley is really, to be completely honest, not a very well-written character, but at least she has a story. Like, she's interesting in the sense that she has actually something to contribute. As for Sir Edmund Burton, played by Anthony Hopkins, I like his character because not only is he interesting, but you can tell that Anthony Hopkins is just having fun with the role. And you can tell that from his performance, because he's actually mentioned in an interview that he had the most fun he's ever had on the set of Transformers: The Last Knight, and that is because he's able to just completely be funny in this movie. And he is. But I'll tell you that some of the comedy does feel a bit forced. It's typical Michael Bay style, and you can tell that some of the stuff was even unscripted, which is typical Michael Bay fashion dialogue, where he just allows the actors to do a lot of improv and ad-libbing, and he just lets it stay in there. In any case, I do like the Sir Edmund Burton character because it provides a lot of interest in the story, because he's the one that really propels the story forward, since he knows everything about the Transformers. So that's really interesting. It provides a lot of development. Okay. Now, as for the performances, I gotta tell you that I never really liked the Cade Yeager's character in Age of Extinction, and I don't even like him even more in Transformers Last Night. It's just a character I don't really care that much about, because I don't really care about his purpose. I don't really care about like the fact that he's an inventor, because it never really shows that he's an inventor, and he doesn't really serve a higher purpose, like a personal purpose, really. He's just there to save the day. Like, that's, at least that's what he believes, all right? And it's just not a really well-written character. And to top things off, this performance from Mark Wahlberg, along with his performance in Age of Extinction, is actually one of the worst performances of his career. I've seen him do better than that, but under Michael Bay's direction, he just didn't hit it off completely at all. As for Isabella Moner, who plays Izzy, and Jimmy, played by Gerard Carmichael, yeah, that's they're pretty much human fodder. And what I mean by that is that if you took them out of the movie, like took them out completely out of the equation, it's the same movie. They really don't serve a purpose in the movie. Like, when you really dig down deep, they don't really add much of anything into the movie. Right, Gerard Carmichael adds a little bit of humor, but the humor, like I already said before, a lot of it's very forced. And Isabella Moner, like, she just kind of comes and goes, and you forget that she even exists in the movie, and then she kind of pops up again, and like it's really weird. But I just really don't understand the purpose of her character. So there you have it. And Captain Lennox, played by Josh Duhamel, standard Lennox, really nothing new here. Just your typical military leader. That's all he really is, and just saying a whole bunch of military dialogue. Nothing really going on there except for him questioning the actions of TRF. But really, that's about it. Like, honestly speaking, that is all he has to offer, which is not that much at all. Then I gotta talk about, let's talk about Transformers, okay? I mean, this is, after all, a Transformers film, so let's get into talking about the Transformers. Not much going on here. To be completely honest, there is really not much going on here. They're still background characters. They are characters which do get some more screen time, but what do they really offer to the story? Not much, which is really unfortunate. You do see them a lot, though. You see a lot of Transformers. Like, that is something that actually blew me away. But then I had expectations for each and every single one of these Transformers, because they actually all had names. They all actually were characters. They weren't drones. They weren't nameless. They were actually characters. But if they're characters, you have certain expectations from them to do things. They don't really do a whole lot, other than, just say a lot of random dialogue, which is really quite meaningless, and also just shoot at things that we can't see. Just your typical, like, bam, 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 typical driving, and just standard background Transformers, which is something that we've seen a lot of in Revenge of the Fallen. Oh god, I just compared Transformers Last Night with Revenge of the Fallen. We're not looking good so far for a Transformers film. That's all I gotta say about the Transformers. No real developments here and there. But I will say that the whole Optimus Prime thing is interesting. The thing with the Knights is interesting, but do we really see anything new in terms of developments of the characters? Not a whole lot, which is a real quite disappointing and unfortunate missed potential there. You know what? Let's move on. Let's talk about Michael Bay and his direction. Standard textbook Michael Bay. Really, this is as textbook as it gets. If you've seen the last 4 movies, you know what to expect with his direction. Big action, which is pretty awesome. Exposition, and then big action. I'm talking about big action, okay? But when you really look at the action, it's really nothing that new. And I think that Michael Bay has ran out of his bag of tricks, so he's just really digging deep into like leftover tricks from previous films. I don't think there's really much new to offer in terms of him as a director for Transformers Last Night, I think he's really just exhausted a lot out of making these films, and it really affects what you see on screen. Because I was just watching this film, and I'm getting the whole the Michael Bay thing, and I know he's got to do his typical this and that, which we've seen before, but I was just watching the film like this. Even in the most exciting parts, I was watching it like this. Even in the big battle, I was watching it like this. And yeah, it's that's not a good sign. I want to talk a little bit about the pacing of this film, and it's a little bit odd, but standard Michael Bay, which is huge action. Like, it opens big, and then we get some more action, which is pretty spectacular, and then you get your extended moment of exposition. I'm talking about a lot of human dialogue in the middle, okay? And then we move on to the big battle. And at some point in time, I was just thinking, throughout the exposition, I was thinking, are we watching a Transformers film? Like, are we really watching a Transformers film? Because I really don't see a whole lot going on here in terms of Transformers. Oh, let's wait till all the action happens, then that's when the Transformers come in, okay? Which leads me to talk about the action. There's a lot of action in this movie. It's action-packed. Like, there's, like, a lot, okay? This is a film that is very fast-paced. It just keeps on going. Like, it doesn't let up, except to stop to explain what the heck is going on. But it moves so fast to the point where all these little like story details, and there are a lot of story details, all these little story details are almost forgotten, or it's just like, it moves along so quickly. It moves along so quickly that you've completely forgotten something important that they've just talked about. That's what it feels like. And so that really is almost like something that comes down to the editing, the way the film was edited. And it's just like so quickly edited to the point where just scenes just end, and they begin with almost little to no context at all. It just begins and ends, and then boom, like, there's your scene. And then I'm just thinking, was that a complete scene, or was there more to that? It felt like it was like there was something more to be said, or something more should have been said, but it moves along quickly. And that's something I really noticed right when we started watching the movie. Right when the credits opened, it was just boom, 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 scene after scene after scene after scene, without actually having completed the scenes. As for the rest of the action, it feels just like those scenes. They just start without any real setup, and then they end without feeling that they're actually complete. You know what I'm saying? It just feels like, okay, action sequence just begins. Oh my god, I wasn't even ready for that. I thought they're gonna build up to it, but they don't even do that. And then once it started, you're thinking, oh, what the heck? That was it? Like, that's it? Like, we're done here? Like, you thought there was gonna be more. And it goes like that throughout the entire movie, which is like bizarre. Like it's not like any of the other films that he's done. It just like ends, and it's a little bit, actually it's really quite disappointing. I want to talk a little bit about the final battle. I mean, I actually have seen tweets and talk about the final battle, how it's like, oh my god, that big final battle. Even Josh Duhamel himself said, man, that final hour is just something else, right? He didn't say that in those exact words, but I had some expectations for the final battle, because we've seen what these films are like with their final battles, and they've been quite crazy. This final battle has got to be the weakest. Really, it has got to be the weakest final battle that I've ever seen for any Transformers film. And we've gotten 4 of them from the same director. And the main reason why is because, like, a lot of the action is just, it feels so aggressive and completely chaotic and just, like, meaningless, in the sense that I don't know who they're actually fighting. And it's not because of a visual thing, it's just that they don't provide a whole lot of context to it. Like, for example, like, you see so much of these shots of these military just going boom, 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 and then you see Autobots going like, I'm here to provide reinforcements, boom, 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 and then like just people, like random shots of like Autobots shooting at things, but I don't know what they're shooting at. And like I said before, I was like this the whole time. Like, I really was like this. And yeah, that's how I felt. Another thing that I have to say about this film is that the music doesn't stand out. I was really excited for Steve Jablonsky's score, and I really can't like pick or point out a theme. Like, I cannot identify a single theme in this movie. Like, typically when you hear when you listen to the music, especially for the first film, it's just like, wow, it really pops out. It stands out. But in this film, it's just background noise, and that's really, really unfortunate. And, you know, no disrespect to Steve Jablonsky, but this has got to be one of the weakest scores he's ever done. Even the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Out of the Shadow score was way better than this. I will say that the 3D is really good. The 3D is really, really good. Like, you know, all those particles that blow up and all like smoke and like things, they're just like pop right at you, and you feel the depth, and it's really, really clean looking. And I didn't even see it in IMAX 3D. I just saw it in Real D 3D in like a regular screen. I didn't even see it in IMAX 3D. Yeah, the 3D is really good. That's definitely a good thing. So, I completely forgot to mention, you know who's the standout Transformers character in this film? Cogman. Cogman is an interesting character. He stands out, and he actually has a personality. And when I say that, I mean that nobody else really has a personality, or at least a distinct personality, and it's a personality that stands out. They're just characters with French accents, characters that are written in a way where none of their dialogue actually means anything at all. And yeah, am I taking this film too seriously? I don't think so. I think that I am just a really invested fan. And because of that, I really thought they were actually going to improve upon a lot of things that were flaws in the previous films. What we have here is a completely different set of flaws, combined with typical flaws that we've seen from the previous films. So because of that, I have to say that I have never been more disappointed in a film. Seriously, I've never been more disappointed at all. I'm going to be completely generous with this film, and I'm going to give it 4.5 out of 10. I can't believe I'm saying this. Like I said, I'm not going to sugarcoat it. I'm going to give it a 4.5 out of 10. And I want to just say that this film is complete corporate, commercialized Hollywood. That's what it is. This film was made to sell toys. This film was made to showcase cars, and not much more than that. I am at a loss for words. That's what I came out of the theater like this. Like rubbing my temples. I'm not even kidding you. Like, as soon as the credits came up, I was like this. But I will say that there were a lot of surprises that I really, really liked in the film. But it didn't follow up on those surprises. Like when I saw those surprises happen, like, ooh, I was like that. But then the scene ended, and I was like, are they going to bring him back, or are they going to continue that, like, where they left off? Are they going to follow up on what I just went ooh about? They didn't really do that. Or at all. They didn't even do that at all. So, oh my god, I can't even believe I'm saying this, but yeah, 4.5 out of 10. My brain hurts just thinking about how honest I have to be about this, but I think I have to be honest about this, because I've been honest from the very, very beginning, and I think it's important for you guys to know how I really, really feel about this film. And this is a very, very weak film. This is a disappointment, and I almost felt a little bit angry as I had dinner after watching this movie, and I was talking to my friend about it, and I was telling him that I'm actually really disappointed, and I feel a little bit angry about this. And but I don't know how to put the words to describe it right now. But there you have it. That is my review. That is my review of Transformers Last Night. But don't take my word for it. Go watch it for yourself and make a decision. I'm actually still going to watch this film 4 more times. Maybe even 5 more times, because there's a lot to take in. And I do want to watch it again, because, you know, maybe it'll change my mind, and maybe I'll pick up on other things. But at the end of the day, this is a piece of entertainment. That's what it is. It's a summer blockbuster. It's a movie where you buy a big popcorn and enjoy yourself. Don't think at all. Just watch what happens, and it's like completely, I won't say it's completely mindless because I do like the story, but like whatever you see that takes place on screen is just really like sensory overload. It's just like Bayhem at its finest. It's Michael Bay at his finest, really. And you can take that however you would like to. And I think there's more things that I want to say, but I really don't know what more I can say. I'm gonna save the rest for the spoiler-filled talkback video, okay? But for this, I'm just gonna end it right there before I say something that I regret. 4.5 out of 10. Go watch it in 3D, IMAX 3D, okay? And there you have it. As always, if you enjoyed this review, hit the like button, subscribe to the YouTube channel, like me on Facebook, the Ragin Nation. Also follow me on Twitter at Ragin Nation. My name is Alex. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next time. Peace. But he said, what the hell? I'm not doing that. I'm not ready. But then eventually they convinced him with bags of money, so then he signed back on board. As for Age of Extinction,